Cool. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the podcast. You're with me, Kevin Wright, on the Kevin Wright Show podcast. Today we're talking about approval. You know, we all are looking for approval from different people in our lives. You know, our parents, a loved one, a partner, looking for approval, looking for verbal approval. I want to make a distinction on that, verbal approval versus the other types of approval. Because there's different types of approval that comes in. You know, sometimes people approve of you through gifts. You know, sometimes people call it a love language. You know, somebody shows their affection, their approval of you by a gift or by their presence. You know, a lot of times people approve of you and what you're doing by showing up to your events and being with you and being next to you and sleeping with you and sleeping in your bed and having dinner with you and meals. That's physical approval. But verbal approval is what we're talking about today. Who do you need it from? Who do you give it to? It got me thinking about this because I watched that new Taylor Swift documentary. Have you seen the new Taylor Swift documentary on Netflix? It's a great doc. And it's basically Taylor going through her latest record. And, you know, she looked at her last record, which was huge. But she's like, I can do better. I can do better. And so she put this documentary on Netflix that shows how she put together her new record. I really like it. But there's something very interesting that she brings up. Taylor Swift, who has an army of followers, millions and millions, probably getting close to the billion level in followers, one of the most popular humans on the planet. In this documentary, they say that really it's no big deal to describe the music industry as Taylor Swift. You know, it's not that she's affected the music industry. She is the music industry. That's how big she is. She's got an army of beloved followers who would do anything for her. But she still admits, one of the most popular humans on the planet, she still admits she needs approval. And what she talks about is she wants the verbal approval from people in her life, the close people and the fans, that they believe she's good. She says, I want my legacy at the end of the day. I want to be known as someone who was a decent and good human being. You know, did some good for society. And if my fans and the people closest to me and my loved ones would just say, I'm good, that's the approval I'd be looking for. You know, she's out there on a stage in front of thousands every night on her tour. And in her heart, she's saying, do they think I'm good? Maybe they think I'm talented. Maybe I get the verbal approval that I'm talented and I'm sexy and I'm loved and I'm fun and I'm funny and I'm engaging and I'm charismatic. But I want the legacy. I want the verbal approval that I'm a good person. And she's struggling with that and dealing with that obviously on her own. And that's the verbal approval she's looking for. So this huge star and many stars and many people are still looking for approval. You'd think when somebody pays millions of dollars for your talents and your services, approval would come in. But it's different for all of us. And so today we're talking about verbal approval. And I'm so inspired by this topic. And of course you could immediately say, you don't need to worry about other people's approval. Of course, there's a whole seminar, there's a whole self-help, there's a whole therapy on that. Of course. You don't need to worry about other people's approval. You have to go on the journey. All right, let's start a side note real quick on this podcast. You have to go on the journey of being your best approver. That's great. That's great. But in relationships, I think it's okay to need some verbal approval on a regular basis. But of course, you should be self-sufficient. Of course, that's a great journey. And there's lots of things and lots of steps we could go on to figure that out. You have to achieve some experience in life to get there, though. You have to go through some suffering. You have to go through some rejection. You have to go through some hardships. You have to go through some deep, great love, some loyalty. You have to experience life a little bit to get to that place where you can finally give yourself those resources from your own heart and approve of yourself. And when you experience a rejection for the third, fourth, fifth time, whether it's in romance or a job or whatever, you know that you approve of yourself and you worked hard and you love yourself. And so that rejection is not going to topple you over. Okay, because you have your own approval. Of course, we could talk about that, but we're not talking about that today. Let's get back to the main topic. Side note over. We're talking about verbal approval from other people. And I'm going to go out and say it is something that's necessary in a relationship, and it is necessary, and it's something you might have to ask for sometimes. Hey, I know you're always with me. I know you always show up on time. Thanks for cooking me meals, and thanks for buying me that cute jacket and those jeans but every once in a while I just need to hear the words from your mouth that you think I'm okay, that you think I'm a good person, that you think I'm funny, that you think I'm smart, that you think I'm intellectual, that If you really think these things, tell me honestly, if they've been bouncing around your head, put those words out there. I need to hear it. And I think it's okay to ask for that verbal approval, especially from your inner circle. So this brings up the topic on approval. Whose approval do you need? Think about the categories right now. Whose approval do you need? Is it your fans? You might have some fans. You might have a fan base building right now because you're a great lawyer, a great businesswoman, a great actor, an artist in some form. You might have a fan base. What kind of approval do you need from them? Which of the fans do you need approval from? Let's narrow the circle a little bit. Do you desire some approval in the form of words from your romance partner, your marriage, your boyfriend, your girlfriend? Is that the person? Is it your siblings? Is it your coworkers? Is it your boss? Is it your employees? The biggest one that I'm hearing from people is, man, it would be nice if my dad told me he was proud of me. If my dad told me, I see what you did with your life and it's pretty awesome. I see how you help people. I see how you sacrifice. I see how you work hard. I see how you were creative and you made money. I needed those words from my dad or your mother. Is that it? A grandparent, the person who raised you, the people who were closest to you. First thing that gets me thinking about this is who do you need approval from? Who do you need approval from? Most likely it's someone in your inner circle. What about your friend group? Your tight social group, that family that you've put together. Not the family you were dealt, but the family you put together. Family you constructed and that you choose to be with and invest in on a regular basis. Are there some of those people, your BFFs, who you need some verbal approval from? What do you guys think about me? What do you guys think about the way I live my life? I'm curious and I want to know and I want to hear it and I want to feel it. Whose approval do you need? Whose approval do you need? If at all. There are some people who truly don't. There's two categories. There's one category of person who will say, I don't need anyone's approval, and they're lying and they're totally insecure and they're totally struggling and they need to communicate better in relationships. So that's one set of people. There's also the people who really don't, who just don't think about this topic, who don't think about words of affirmation, who don't think about verbal approval, who don't think about there's this thing in me that needs to get accessed. There's this thing in me that needs to get touched by the people in my life. There are people who aren't like that. So that exists. No shame in that. But we're talking about verbal approval today. Whose do you need? Now, that could open up a whole can of worms for you. Most likely it's going to be people close to you, not some arm's distance folks. But not only do I think about this when I'm coaching my clients, when I'm encouraging my clients, but I'm also thinking about what type of verbal approval do you need? Here's a little list. Are you in that same category as Taylor Swift? You just want, at the end of the day, you want your legacy, you want the people around you to say, you're good. You're a good person. I see your flaws. I see you fuck up here and there. I see all the shit you do. And I wrap it all together. And at the end of the day, I take the pros and the cons. And ultimately, the result comes out as you're good. Here's your verbal approval as goodness. Or smart. Smart's a big one. We want people to think that we are capable and smart. We have like some shit going on in our mind besides just being a bunch of drones, a bunch of Walmart America going through the process, drones who just copy other people and don't know how to live life and don't have original creative thoughts. It's very fulfilling when somebody close to you says, hey, I see you and you're smart and I like that. And I like that about you. That's a huge one. Man, I was on a date the other night. And this kind of bugged me. Because I had this moment where I was just crushing on this person. I thought she was so beautiful. And I said, I just have to tell you, you're so cute. Like, I'm glad we made this happen. I thought you were so cute. And I think this. And it didn't hit her the right way because she doesn't like being called cute. She was thinking that it takes away from the approval category of being smart or intellectual. Cute. Why are women called cute? Hey, by the way, boys are called cute too. So it kind of bugged me. And she knows I'm not that type of person who's just about looks, who's just like, you're cute and pretty and that's all you are and that's your only value. she knows that. And so it bugged me. I think it's okay to be annoyed sometimes when you get compliments like that, but learn how to take a compliment. Learn how to take a compliment. Learn how to understand the situation. If somebody says you're cute, it can also mean 1,000 different things. It doesn't mean always, hey, all you are is cute. All you do is good makeup and great haircuts and a nice body. That's not that. People are trying to tell you you're beautiful and you're fun, and there's a whole package to the compliment. Learn how to take a compliment. Jesus, what's wrong with us in society that none of us can handle compliments very well, or we have to like stand up and fight some like social justice battle? Just learn how to take a compliment. Thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Really? Oh, thank you. If somebody calls me cute, and it happens all the time, just kidding, it happens maybe once every 6 months. I need it to happen more. The verbal approval of calling Kevin Wright cute. I am not going to be like, hey, when you called me cute back there, you hurt my feeling because you think I'm dumb and just cute. I'm gonna trust this person and think that they're saying he's attractive or he's funny or he's sweet or he's good looking. Thank you. Wow, that's nice to hear. I'm getting older. I'm working on my shit, but you think I'm cute. All right, that's a side note. That was a tangent. I don't know how the shit. So we talked about the category of verbal approval and wanting people to think you're good, like Taylor Swift. Smart. Oh yeah, that's how we got onto the cute topic. Smart. That's a huge one. That's a huge one. Please, 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 do the people in my life know that I've got some shit going on in my mind, that I'm clever, that I can put 2 and 2 together. The verbal approval of smart. And that's probably a big one in relationships too. Lock in on that one. Does this person I'm sleeping with every night, is this person I'm spending all this time with and making food with and raising babies with even think I'm smart? Or do they think they're the smart one in the relationship and they're like carrying the weight for both of us? Smart. Intellect. That, maybe you need that one. Maybe that's the one you want to hear from your parents. You know, you're a smart kid. Yeah, I like the way your mind works. I like your intellect. Talented. Talented is sometimes a verbal approval we want to hear. And this is the third category. We have goodness, morals, smart, intellect. Maybe you do need the verbal approval of external, like, hey, you're pretty. Yeah, we like to hear that all the time. But the third category, the big one, is special or unique or talented, or you stand out from a crowd because you're special. I think that is the biggest one. That's the one, as I'm watching society, we kind of want to be known for that. Because there are so many people out there, and now with social media and with self-production, and anyone can become a star, and anyone can become a thing. TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, all that. We want some meaning in life, and we want to find our purpose by a few people saying, you're different from the crowd. You're special, you're unique, you're talented. I see you, you stand out, and I verbally give you that approval. Wouldn't that feel good? Wouldn't that feel good when somebody looks at all the world, looks at all, let's say you are a 29-year-old woman, professional, working, single, out there dating, trying to progress in your career, and there's a lot of those. There's a lot of that category, that exact category. There's a lot of those. So when somebody sees you in that category and they pick you out and say, this is my category, 29-year-old single woman, and you are special. You are different. You are talented. When your boss says that, it feels amazing. And it might be the approval that you're looking for. That third category of unique, special, talented stands out from the crowd. To me, this is a big one because it's transcendent. This is the big transcendent one where all of a sudden you got some meaning and purpose in life. Okay, I'm making an impact. I'm doing something different. I'm turning heads. I'm causing someone to notice my special. That feels amazing. Hey, I just want to let you know I've been watching you and you are just different from the norm. I see the patterns of society. I see the patterns of life, and you're really fucking different. It's cool. You're unique. That does give you some meaning and purpose. We're all looking for meaning and purpose. Sometimes we find it in religion. Sometimes we find it in family, raising a child, in a romance relationship, in a job, in an art, in a creative task. One of those times where purpose and meaning bounces up real big is when somebody spots you and says you're special. That is some verbal approval you might be needing. And it's okay to ask for it. It's okay to ask for it, by the way. If you're in a relationship where the verbal shit doesn't happen enough, you need to talk about it. You need to talk about it. I know it's a scary thing. Making requests in any relationship, whatever it is, professional, work, family, romance, it's scary. You know? It's scary. You know one category that I was always nervous about was making sex recommendations. Hey, could you do this? Could we try this? Would you go in this direction? And people get worried about it because there's an insecurity built in intimacy where we're like, they should know what I need. They should know what I want. They should, and if they don't, I might hurt their feelings. They might hurt my feelings. No, in relationships, trust each other to bring up topics. And trust each other to bring up the topic of verbal approval. Hey, I'm working on my own shit. I'm finding my own securities. I'm finding my own confidence. But I'm with this. Can you from time to time let me know when you see me stand out in the crowd? Can you let me know from time to time when you see my what wisdom? Can you let me know from time to time when you see the cool things that I do? Verbally tell me. Not just with a necklace or a ring or a new car, but verbally tell me. It's okay to talk about that. Doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean you're in a failing relationship. Bring it up. It could open up a fight. It could open up some drama. Bring it up and get it started. Open up that conversation. Trust the people in your life closest to you for that verbal approval. Is it goodness you want to be known for? Is it kindness? Is it smarts? For me, I like that kindness one. When I die, if I was known for something, I hope it's kindness. All the accolades, all the creativities, all the people I helped, whatever. I hope people are like, dude, he was kind. He wasn't perfect, but he was kind. I saw all the shit he did. He had mistakes and he had vices and he did this too much and that too much. But in the end, he was a kind man. Dude, I would love that. And if I hear that, that's my top source for verbal approval. Thank you for being kind and gentle. When I hear that, it really hits me hard. A lot of people say, well, you need that because you're struggling believing that about yourself. Taylor Swift is struggling believing the goodness about herself. Sometimes that's the case. And so sometimes you want to hear it otherwise. Sometimes it's the exact opposite. You know it so well about yourself. You know so well about the journey you're on, the path you're on, your journey of kindness, goodness, uniqueness, talent. You know it so well about yourself and you want those closest to you to be on that same journey with you. So sometimes it's a deficiency and sometimes it's because you're so strong on that track. And I want to push people in that strong track. I want to push people to find their talent, get confident about their talent, be excited about a creative gift, a hardworking gift that they have, the ability to love others in a unique way. I want people to be so pumped on that they begin to expect that affirmation from other people as well. Living into that. It's okay to ask for. I see all that shit you're doing. I see your life. I see the whole big picture. I get it. I get where you're at. And I see that you are kind. After it all shakes out, you're kind. This brings me to this cool illustration that I've been thinking about in relationships. Some of the best understanding about approval comes from when we were in kindergarten, right? In the old days, in kindergarten, in elementary school, in middle school, we do this thing when we have a crush on somebody and we use the word like. I like you. And ultimately, when that crush finally has to be known in public, you go up to that person and you either write them a note or you tell them, hey, I like you. It's that moment of I like you. Does Kevin like Kelly? Does Kevin like Tracy? Does Kevin like Melissa? And people use that in the gossip and in the rumor mill. And we say, I like this person. Still to this day, as grown-ups and adults, we have that verbal phrase of, do you like her? Do you like him? Are you in like? And at some point, we have to communicate with the person we like that we like them. In kindergarten, it was so simple. When you had that crush, hey, I saw you on the swings. I saw you on the playground. I saw you in class. I see the way you do finger paints. I see the way you read Curious George books by yourself in the corner. And I have decided I like you. What a simple voice of approval. I've decided I like you. I've decided I like you. We need to get back to that kindergarten way of communication. Hey, babe, we've been together 20 years. We're in this marriage. We're in this relationship. We're in this partnership. We're dating for 5 years, whatever it is. And you're out to dinner and you just spring it on them. The lady goes up to her man and says, by the way, I see all your flaws. Sometimes your temper is a little quick. Sometimes you're messy and you don't do the goddamn dishes enough. Sometimes you sleep in when you should get up early. But after I put it all together, I really like the whole package. I really like you. That verbal approval is very special. And it goes back to a very simple thing. You get these feelings for somebody and you like them and we need to talk about it more. It's okay to talk about. Hey, babe, I like you. The verbal approval. Maybe you need to hear that more for some people in your life. By the way, I like you. I like you. My friends, I like you. I like you. Hey, how we should see that more in pickup lines. A couple of buddies of mine, we always get together and we interview each other. What are the latest pickup lines? What's been working? What's funny? It's the funniest topic. It's so funny. I've got some stand-up material from it. It's so funny. You know, I'll throw out a couple right now. One of them is you go up to the person you like, you know, at a bar, at a restaurant or whatever, social gathering, and this one has been working really well. Hey, I like your shoes and your face. And there's just so much to talk about and it opens up a whole conversation. People get caught off guard by it, but that was one that came up. There's a lot of funny ones, but what about just going back to, you're in the bar. You don't have to be clever. You don't have to be like, hey, I checked out all the girls in here. You're the hottest girl in here. You know, that may work with some women. It doesn't go that far. But what about going back to the simplest and saying, here we are at the social gathering. I'm in this bar and we're elbow to elbow with all these people and the music's pumping. And I'm watching the situation and I'm watching you. We've made eye contact a few times. I saw you get your drink and you saw me get my drink and I'm just looking at you and I like the way you carry yourself. I like you. The simplest pickup line ever. Hey, I like you. Oh my God. Okay. That's big. That's big. And it says a lot. It says that you've looked at the situation. You see this person. Do you remember in the movie Avatar, James Cameron Avatar, what, the 2000, when the hell was that? It was a long time ago. 2009, 2012, a long time ago. Sequels are coming out soon. But the tribe on Pandora, the alien tribe that the humans were attacking on this planet out in space, they had a way of greeting each other. And they did this thing. So when someone would come in from a hunt or from a battle and get back to the home base and get back to the home tribe's camp, when they would come in sweaty and tired from the day, the people who greet them would first say, oh, I see you. I see the situation you're in. I see where you're coming from. I verbally approve. I verbally speak to where you're at. And the first thing they do is, I see you. And it was this recognition of, before we get into whatever, we have this moment where we look into each other's face and they said, I see you, tired from today's hunt. So now I'm informed about how we're going to connect, how we're going to talk, how we're going to relate right now. I see you coming in with tears in your eyes as if your heart has been broken. You're sad about something. I see you. And they would always say, as they first greet each other from whatever events of the day, I see you. And take a minute. Hey, I see that you're down and you got low energy. I see you. We should do that more. We should do that more in our close relationships and in strange relationships. Whenever I have a client that I meet with face to face, I try to sense what's going on. I want to have that moment where I see them. I see them. It might be a life coaching client, a self-help client. It might be a poverty relief client who I'm helping move to the next level in life. And let's have that moment where I see you. Oh, you're high energy today. You're upbeat. You got a swagger in your step. I see that. Let's get into that. I recognize your mood. I recognize the vibe. Vibe check. We don't do that enough. We don't get into that enough. I love that from Avatar. I see you. Try that when you're first meeting up with your friends to pregame before the party, to pregame before going to the bar. I see you. I see where you're at. It's so good. There's a verbal approval that speaks into that. Another side note on verbal approval. Some people will never be satisfied with your words. Think about that for a second. This is a counterpoint to our whole podcast today. Some people will never be satisfied with your words. So you could say it 1,000 times. For a lot of people, it's very helpful to hear words of verbal approval. To hear those things that seem to be unspoken that we need to hear. But some people, they have so many demons and they're working through so much stuff in their own life that it doesn't matter how many times you could tell them they're beautiful. They've got to figure it out themselves. So that is a real thing. It doesn't matter how many times you tell them they're smart. They will never believe it. Maybe they had some trauma as a child with a teacher, a close family member telling them they were stupid. And even when you support them in life, no matter how many times you give them that verbal approval, they are not satisfied with it. It doesn't help. It's not a healthy thing. So that's a thing. That's a real thing. There are many relationships where the only thing missing is a little extra verbal approval, and we need to talk about it. We need to ask for it. We need to learn to give it. But there are some where you can just keep throwing it into a bottomless pit. Keep throwing those words into a bottomless pit and it won't help. That's true. That's true. Not only should we be sensing when the people in our lives need some verbal approval, but we got to figure out how to give it. Saying those things to people when it's not asked for is such a vulnerable thing. Saying those, just watching your friends, watching the people closest to you in your life and sensing when to give some words of affirmation, when to give a hug, when to give a gift, when to give verbal approval. Hey man, I see that you're on this project. You're on this lonely project. You're doing a new painting series with 8 big, beautiful paintings, and you're going to do an art show. And I see you on this. And I see all the hard work you put into it. And I see all the time you've spent. The creativity, the uniqueness, the blood, sweat, and tears, the money you've put into this. I want you to know I've seen the whole big journey, the adventure in the picture. I've seen the whole thing. Because you're sensing that person wants to be special in the friend group, wants to be known for their deeds, wants to be known for their life's work. Sense it and give it. Sense it and give it. And it's such a scary thing. It's vulnerable. It's vulnerable. It's vulnerable to tell someone, hey, I missed you. I haven't seen you for a while. I miss you. I miss talking to you. I miss being with you. Sense those things around the people that you're with and then give that approval. Give that verbal approval. You can really boost somebody's spirits. And where else are they going to get it? It should be from the closest people around them. I've been thinking about the hierarchy of confidence and the hierarchy of our own inner confidence and how we get shit done and how we become special in society, how we stand out and how we make a difference. I've been thinking about the hierarchies in confidence. So, for example, let's talk about somebody who wants to be a musician. A musician. Three areas of confidence come up for me, and one of them is the volume of their work. So how much time and how much effort and how much music are you doing? How much music are you making? How many songs are you writing? The greats, go back to Taylor Swift, she's probably writing thousands and has written thousands and is constantly thinking about it and messing with the piano and the guitar and her, I don't even know how many songbooks she has. But the work and the volume of work and the volume of actual product is huge. So you have that in the hierarchy of confidence. You also have just God-given talent, right? Some talents can be learned and trained and built. You can become stronger by lifting weights, and you can become a better runner by running more and eating better. But there's also this like God-given talent, right? This miraculous, born with it talent. That's a category of confidence. Then there's the category of belief. Belief that you are the thing. You are the musician. Regardless of the volume of work you put out, regardless of the talent that other people talk to you about, there is that one thing where you've come to the conclusion and you personally believe that you can do it. Belief, to me, is the highest part. When you're living life in relationships and you're with all these people, it should be a goal of ours to help each other, to help our family, to help our friends, to help our partners get to that place of belief, personal belief. And verbal approval helps with that. Because if your friend or if you believe that you can compete in the music world, the volume of the hard work, the volume of product is going to come. The talent is going to rise if they believe it. But you could be sitting on heaps of talent and volume of product. But if you don't believe you can get out there and compete, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. And I think that's where approval can help each other. Belief is the game changer. Belief is the game changer. I'm looking out on the world of actors right now. I'm looking at all the actors. I spent some time in LA, and this is an example. This isn't my real life. This is an example. But I did spend some time in LA. I'm looking out and I'm seeing all these actors showing up to auditions, showing up to casting calls. There's some really good ones. And there's some famous ones that I really admire. But I know I'm as good as they are. I just haven't been discovered. I know I could do that show, that movie, that voiceover. I know I can do it. I believe it. I believe it as much as I believe about anything. And I want it because I believe it. I want to be a professional paid actor because I believe it. And I want it as bad as breathing air, survival. I want it that bad. If the belief and the knowledge is there, the talent and the volume and all that other stuff will come. And this all ties back into the topic of verbal approval, because we are all on this journey of what do we know about ourselves? What do we believe about ourselves? Can we do this thing? Can we compete with that society of talented people out there? If you know it and believe it, you'll be able to put in that hard work. You'll be able to build that stack of volume of music, acting resume, art. You will see your talent rise. And the building of belief comes from self-approval and sometimes strong approval in the people around you. Approval is a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. It really got me thinking from that Taylor Swift documentary. You should go check it out. I'm a big fan of hers. I got no issues with Taylor Swift. I look at the whole package and I approve. Approval. Who do you need to hear it from? What type of verbal approval do you need? Which category do you fall into? And maybe who are those people in your life who you could give a little more to? And then, of course, the journey of self-approval. You approve of yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit, your morality, your goodness, your kindness. Are you finding that self-approval? It's a cool topic. I had to speak about it because it's been bubbling up. I couldn't shake it. This has been another podcast on the Kevin Wright Show podcast. We'll catch you next time.